The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
First Week Podcast. Look who's back with us today. It's
good morning. Good morning.
Of course, Marc Francois. It's been a little while on the show, brother. How are you, man?
Yeah, man. Been busy. It's been a crazy summer.
Busy. You're so busy. Your hair is all looking all coiffed and nice and perfect, like you look very presidential.
Oh yeah, I got meetings after this. I can't be looking sloppy today.
We were supposed to do this podcast last week, and then of course meetings on the way. Of course, so you're a busy guy. I get it, brother. I get it. How you been?
So much easier when I'm back in New York too. Like I was in California last week, and it's so much tougher because like I don't have any of my equipment there. Like it's so much easier when I'm at home.
Yeah, I'm trying to be mad at you because when I was in New York about a month or so ago, and you happened to be the 4 days I happened to be in the city, you're not there.
Yeah,
like
and it was what the first time you were in New York in like 3 or 4 years, something like that.
No, longer.
Do you still go every year?
10.
10. Okay.
Yes, and honestly, my wife and I are going to try to make it a yearly thing now. Just her and I try to get away if we can.
You have to.
Yeah, I it's funny because like I'm born there. So obviously I know what the city's like, and I get that. But when you actually experience it as an adult, a full-fledged adult, and actually settle in, it's just you have a better appreciation for the city now than you as a child. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Going to Broadway
My
shows.
first real trip to the city, I was like 32 and 34, something like that, and moved here at almost 40. And so, no, man, absolutely, it's 100% that.
Yeah, going, and it's so much to do there. You can obviously eat all day long, which I fucking love. But you can go to a Broadway. I love Broadway. Go to Broadway shows there. You can go to a sports game. You can do.
Yeah, I'm trying to see one like this week.
Which one?
Probably either Wicked or Sunset Boulevard with Nicole Scherzinger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my list is getting pretty good. Like I've checked a lot of boxes, but I still have a few I need to hit.
Yeah, I did like an episode, a little solo episode a couple of weeks ago where I said I'm a Broadway guy. I've never not liked Broadway, but the last couple of years, I think with the Hamilton thing, and then really watching stuff with my wife in the last couple of years, I have a better appreciation for Broadway now and for musicals again in the ways I hadn't. I did as a kid, but not really in the same way. My favorite movies growing up were musicals, but I never considered them musicals. I considered them movies. We saw Book of Mormon while I was out there. Oh my God.
That's one I'm dying to see still.
You have to see that there. Oh my God. It's amazing. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop laughing, man. So
yeah, that's what I'm dying to go see.
Yeah. So what's the pulse right now? This is why I want you on the show today, especially too. We're about a month away from the New York mayor's race, New York City mayor's race. That the way it's being covered right now nationally is like a presidential election pretty much.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Well, because I think it's going to be a big bellwether. It's one of the first major sort of dominoes to fall going into the midterms. You've had some of these special elections, like the one in Arizona that Mike Johnson refused to certify. But the New York mayor's race is a big one. Like New York mayor, California governor. These are big bellwether elections that kind of, I think, indicate at least where the left in the country is or leftish is going in the country.
No, I agree with you. And right now the polling right now has Namdani up big right now.
Yeah. I mean, Adams is already out, and I don't see how Cuomo is going to overcome the kind of, what is it, like a 14-point deficit right now or something.
Yeah, he got destroyed against Namdani in the primaries.
Yeah,
destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I have some issues and some reservations about the way where he's moved on, for example, Palestine. He started couching his language a lot around that issue. He was a lot more staunch in his positions earlier in the campaign. But that notwithstanding, I mean, overall, his policies are going to broadly benefit New Yorkers, and I think will signal to the rest of the country that you can enact a lot of these more progressive policies, rent stabilization policies, housing and transportation policies that are more equitable and environmentally sound. There's a lot that can be done, and I think his administration will demonstrate that and provide some air cover for mayors and governors throughout the country.
It's quite possibly that the couching you're saying he's doing is strategic. It's just to if they're like moderate to probably on that issue, that maybe just to kind of like tone down a little bit, just to make sure they got those votes in, and then once he's in office, then he can get back to who he authentically really is. That's the divide I get.
That it seems that way, and I hope you're correct. And I mean, it's only natural a little bit that through the course of the campaign, the candidate's going to moderate a little bit. But yeah, I still think he is the guy for New York. He's the only one talking about any kind of policies that make sense that are going to improve conditions for New Yorkers. Because I mean, right now, in order to afford a decent like 1-bedroom apartment in Midtown, you need to be making $150,000, $160,000 a year minimum.
Yeah,
that's
ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
I have a friend who lives in the city and pays $3,600 a month for like a 400 square foot studio. Now, granted, it's in a nice building and stuff, but still, it's a hotel room with a kitchenette.
Yeah. Just being there for 4 days, I will say the energy is definitely on his side. And talking to people there in the city, and just kind of listening to people being in cabs and whatnot, you can tell. Even in August, you can tell the race was a big deal, and you can tell that Donnie has the wave going his way.
Yeah,
it's real. 100%. The polling is reflective of what it really is, at least right now.
Yeah. And I think, having the UN General Assembly here is only doubling down on, people's consciousness around a lot of these issues and the sorts of things that he's talking about, focusing, it was a super weird moment earlier on in the primary debates when they were asking every candidate what their first foreign trip was going to be. And they were all talking about Israel. And it's like, why? Do you know, we have so many fucking problems right here in the city. Like, what?
Yeah.
And his answer was, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be right here in the 5 boroughs.
Right.
If I need a little culture, I'll go to Queens. Like,
I am curious because you made a great point there about this being the precursor of what the midterms could look like next year. Because people forgot. People are still crying over the election of Kamala losing to Trump. We're a year away from the midterms. We're not that far away. This shit escalates. Like, you got to get over that and kind of move on to the next thing now, because this thing is picking up. You know what I mean? And
campaign season's going to start in 6 months,
right? And I'm really curious,
or within 6 months,
because I think he will win. I think if he loses, because he got rigged, because they did some rigging. I believe Eric Adams leaving the campaign, suspend his campaign, was strategic to consolidate more votes. For the moderate.
Yeah, I correct. I would agree with you. It seems to me the only way that Mamdani loses is if there's fuckery afoot.
But the thing is, you can't. I don't trust it. I don't trust people. I don't trust the system. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So like I said,
Americans' trust in government and elections broadly right now is at an all-time low.
Yeah, on both sides of the aisle.
Take a number, sweetheart.
Both sides claim fraud. That's the funny thing. Like, both sides do the same thing as each other. Well, that's fraud. No, that's
Well,
fraud.
you know what's funny though, and I think it's noteworthy that yes, both sides do it, but I think one side is projecting and one side has a case. Now, am I one of these people that sits here and goes, "Oh, Elon Musk hacked the system and stole the election for Trump"? No, he didn't. Shut the fuck up. Like
Thank you. Thank you. I
Elon Musk
agree.
can't tie his shoes. He buys a company that ties shoes for you. Like, stop it. However, in the couple dozen or so cases of voter fraud that get discovered every year, every election cycle, in the last few elections, everyone committing voter fraud, or most people committing voter fraud, overwhelmingly are voting for candidates on the right, number one. And number two, in the wake of the 2024 election, the only cases that are moving forward that are asking questions about election integrity have been cases brought in favor of Democratic candidates. So,
yeah,
do with that what you will. Right. But like one group of people's lawsuits get advanced and another group of people get arrested for voter fraud, and they tend to be from very specific camps. Overwhelming.
I love people assume that if it's fraud, that it's goes to one party. Like, bro, you don't understand. Like, both sides can cheat
like
too.
When people talk about, when you hear these like toothless morons in their F-150s, on TikTok that are like, "Oh, the Democrats vote for their dead grandmothers." It's like, no, that's literally what a MAGA hat dude in Wisconsin got arrested for. But try again.
But go on, go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, please.
No,
please continue.
You raised a great point there about the whole Elon thing in the election, because there's a lot of people who still think that Trump cheated, and I disagree with that. I'm willing to hear out arguments.
I'll hear you out if you can point to maybe specific districts or regions or states, but broadly across 160 million votes cast, something that was actually a bit in the newsroom that they were talking about, but it was factual. It was something like from the elections from like 2000 to 2012. Do you know how many instances of voter fraud there were? 86.
Actual, like, specific
out of
frauds.
4 election cycles, including midterms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
the reason 86. Why I don't,
you're talking about like 800 million votes cast in those cycles between midterms and everything. 86. Fuck out of here.
The reason why I don't buy
voter
that
fraud
either,
is not a thing.
Yeah. The reason why I don't buy that shit either too is that, because this is the reason why I don't buy that. Because to me, when you say that, the first thing is you're letting Democrats off the hook. That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
What have we been screaming since election night? Screaming again more loudly during the autopsy pod, and every single time we've unpacked the 2024 election. I at least have said the same thing, and you have tended to agree with me, which is that it wouldn't have mattered who was selling the product. The DNC put forth a shitty product. Period. The end. Yeah. The Biden administration did not do enough to balance the scales of wealth inequality and all of the other like pillars of society that we talk about, whether it's healthcare, groceries, gas, rent, you name it. And then, layer in Gaza on top of that and their, feckless, tacit standby and support of Israel's genocide. The Democrats were not running on a positive record. And then on top of that, you had 107 days for Kamala Harris to campaign on the heels of an embarrassingly poor debate performance by Joe Biden. Like a concerningly poor
Thank you.
Like the Democratic platform sucked donkey dick. The closest they've gotten to something useful to voters was, when they basically copy and pasted half of Bernie's platform into Hillary Clinton's after the convention, because they had no fucking choice over how popular Bernie's policies were. But like from 2021 to 2025, wealth inequality continued to expand, corporate consolidation continued, executive compensation continued to rise exponentially relative to worker compensation, housing affordability, healthcare affordability, automotive affordability. None of these things have improved. Education broadly has not improved. Like, yes, President Biden did a whole lot more in his 4 years than he got credit for, but they're things that only wonks like you and me pay attention to.
Yeah, I agree. And again, what
Ask my average neighbor on Long Island here, what even like a centrist or a lib, ask them what like Joe Biden's 5 biggest policy accomplishments were. Unless they're fucking nerds like we are, they can't tell you.
Right. And all I have to do, and not to get arrogant here, but this is, I have a lot of friends, a lot of friends who not only around here, friends who live abroad, around the country.
Sure.
And we talk. We all talk. I'm an extrovert. So what I did, and
I told my homie in France, by the way, he is constantly flicking my earlobe in the DMs about like, your economy is shit. Move to Toulon. We go camping.
But what I did is I took a sample. And look, it is a small sample compared to the bigger electorate. But I took friends of mine who were either Democrats, former Democrats, centrists, who may have voted for Biden or Obama in years past, who checked letter for Trump. And there are a lot more of those this time around than it was in the past. So if you apply that logic, that sample across the board, you can understand why an election can swing like that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's disappointing that people bought the snake oil in 2024, but the simple truth is Republicans, even if they were lying, were speaking to the issue. Like one of the cool, I guess, like data insights that I get is talking to certain like female friends of mine about their adventures in dating. And, like one of the things you hear about a lot is that women are basically Trump checking their dates. And they know that like if a guy says, oh, I don't talk about politics or I'm a moderate, I'm like, oh, you voted for Trump. Okay. But if you ask, sort of the average idiot who doesn't follow politics and suddenly was posting about Charlie Kirk remembrance, those people genuinely bought the shtick.
Yeah.
And the Democrats didn't have an effective messaging. They just keep saying, basically, the Democrats' position the last 10 years has basically just been, no, we're not. No, we didn't. That's not true. That's their response to everything. They cower in the corner and ask not to be kicked again. And they're constantly on defense. There's no counterpunching. There's no standing on business to fight for their policies and their positions. They're just, trying to tell everybody that Trump's a fascist. And most people don't understand how threatening that is because our education system sucks and they didn't get the right version of U.S. history.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. No,
it's really as simple as that.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, you took a small sample and you applied everywhere else, and it made sense. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And
like I said, it drives me fucking crazy that it worked.
And I gotta be honest with you too, Mark. And it's almost to be admired in some ways. The rights ecosystem and the way they built their chamber with podcasts and with all this, they do a better job of staying on message.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's PBD or it's fucking Benny Johnson.
They have these unifying. Forget like the fact that it's supported by rotten soul selling like pillars and foundation, but the simple fact is the right in this country has a figure around whom they can rally, and the left doesn't. No. There has not been a consistent standard bearer.
Obama was the last one, but
I mean, he was the last unifying standard bearer. But even by the end of his presidency and in his post-presidency, I would argue he has probably damaged his reputation more than any beloved political figure by being so neutral during election cycles and not being vocal enough about helping to advance the cause of elections. Like, they were not using his cachet effectively to advance the cause of candidates like Biden and Harris, and even back in 2016.
And it goes back to when we were doing podcasts in 2016. It goes back to the Bernie situation, him getting screwed, and people lost a lot of trust in that party after that.
And to this day, for example, I just saw a story from a finance creator, and he was talking about how Nancy Pelosi's good buddy, former Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or is she former Congresswoman, or is she still Congresswoman from Florida?
I hope she's not anymore.
I hope, but she's still a figure in the Democratic establishment. That's what matters. But she was just buying up stocks at $2 a share that are likely the result of, insider trading, because Congress has access to financial information that the general public doesn't. And we still miraculously don't have any kind of law, apart from our standard antitrust laws, banning members of Congress from stock trading and playing in the capital markets when they have information that, again, the general public doesn't have access to.
Yeah, she's on a current term right now. Actually, I don't know how she still has.
Okay,
I don't know how she still has this wave.
She buried Bernie's can't. She built the. We talked about this on the pod during the
2016
primaries in
2016. Yes,
where there was a story that had come out. It's burned into my memory. There was a Hillary Victory Fund created by the DNC. It was a combination of Podesta and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and other Clintonites that put together the Hillary Victory Fund in 2014. That's when the documents were filed and the registration was done.
And only that,
and we talked about this literally almost 10 years ago.
Mark, not only that, because the people. I have friends of mine who come on this podcast regularly, and they debate me on this, and they say that it's not true, this and that. They're Democratic, voters, and I say the people who did the rigging is admitting they rigged it. What do you believe now?
Think about it. We were watching shows like one of our old favorites, controversy notwithstanding, but on Bloomberg they had With All Due Respect with Heilman and Halperin.
Yeah, the old show back then.
We were pre-circus shit, and we were screaming at each other about even the way those quote unquote responsible journalists were burying the leads on Bernie when he was rallying to the tune of tens of thousands of people at every stop along the way. And was getting no airtime. They were giving all this free airtime to Trump and his campaign and the circus around it. But no one was talking about, the popularity of Bernie's policies. When he went to, the LA Sports Arena, filled the arena and then had another 15,000 people outside watching on big screens. It was crazy. Now, he didn't do himself any favors. Every time he had a big platform, like a debate, or a big national television interview, I feel like Bernie wets the bed, and he has for a long time. He makes great speeches. He's a great rallier. I've literally seen him speak live. He's incredible in that forum, but for some reason he just sits there repeating himself in debates, and he doesn't narrate his policies well on big platforms.
I am curious if you go back to the New York mayor's race, if this is going to be if the pivot is going to be real, because we said this last year. Biden's, Pelosi's, even Obama, Clinton's done. If this party is going to move forward in a real way, if 2024 was not what a lesson learned, if you will, that the party has to move into a real working class message. I don't know what will be,
I mean, that's really what it boils down to in this country. And this is what more people need to understand is it doesn't have shit to do with right or left anymore. I mean, yes,
absolutely.
obviously we need to beat back fascism and authoritarianism. But the simple truth in this country is the struggle is between up and down, not left and right.
Which begs the question, Mark. AOC. Is AOC the next voice of the party? I'm going to play a clip because apparently there's some polling here from CNN.
I'm going to hear the clip, but short answer and predictive answer is no. Let's see. And I adore AOC as much as you can adore a politician.
Right. Let's see what Harry Hinton had to say about AOC's.
She looks a lot like famed airline pilot Roger Murdoch. Weird.
Wrong video, buddy. Coming on now.
Ran for the presidency about a decade ago. I just think it's just such a tectonic shift within the Democratic electorate.
He said that really
Early choices for the Dem presidential nominee. Back in June of 2014, look, Hillary Clinton was way ahead of everybody with 69%. Bernie Sanders was like in 9th or 10th place with just 2%. Look at where we are right now in September of 2025. Look how much closer AOC is to the top now than Bernie Sanders was back a decade ago. She's at 12%, so she has 6 times his amount of support. But more than that, look how much closer she is to the leader. Gavin Newsom leads the field right now, but just with 21%. She is within 10 points of Gavin Newsom. I never thought I would have seen the day when someone as liberal as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is to the leader. She's 9 points back as opposed to what? 67 points back Bernie Sanders was a decade ago at this point. If we thought Bernie Sanders was a long shot back in June of 2014, at this particular point, AOC has a very real shot, at least according to the early numbers that we see so far.
I can't believe it's been 10 years. That's what's freaking me out.
Your thoughts?
Okay, so all right, there's a few things there I want to touch on. Number one, I think making a comparison of like where Bernie was relative to her at the same time, relatively in previous elections is flawed. And here's why.
Okay.
Broadly, nobody knew who the fuck Bernie was until people like us were screaming about, are you guys seeing this crazy old man from Brooklyn by way of Vermont? Like, he didn't have a national profile like she does. She has been a polarizing national political figure since she came onto the scene when she unseated a decades long Democrat in her primary race to get into Congress in the first place.
Wouldn't that help her, Casey, more so now?
That kind of profile.
Right, but would you could not argue that would help her, Casey, more now because she already has the platform ready that Bernie didn't have in 2016?
Potentially. So here's where I'm of two minds about this. Number one, I do fear after what we just saw with both Clinton and Harris that this country is too racist and too sexist to be able to capture the independent voters you need. However, with the number of voters who stayed home altogether, it's curious as to sort of like, can we do it? But my countervailing thought on that is the one thing that could overcome the racism and sexism sort of just baked into this country is a message that actually appeals to workers in a tangible way.
Right.
Says, our crusade is to get the national minimum wage raised to $18 an hour by 2030. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. New rent stabilization policies, do away with property tax for schools. But it has to be tangible and with real short-term benefit. This can't be shit that you're not going to realize for 10 years. It has to be, we're going to rewrite the tax code the same way President Trump did in 2017. We are going to fix this. We are going to implement a wealth tax. We are going. That's to me the only thing that could overcome, all of the bullshit that, nonsense that got peddled on quote unquote centrist and right-leaning pods all over the internet in the run-up to the election.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Buttigieg or Newsom probably are the more likely candidates to emerge from the convention, and I could see AOC being number 2 on the ticket. I know
I will say
she's got to be right on the cusp of presidential age eligibility.
no.
She's like,
I think she's 36 then, though.
Okay, so okay, no, but that's what I mean. Is like, isn't it 35? You have to be. Is it 30? Is it 30 for Congress? 35 for for the presidency?
How old is AOC?
Yeah, she's not. I don't think she's older than 37.
No, she's definitely in the mid-30s.
Yeah. Okay.
How old AOC? You have to bring it right now on the ChatGPT.
But yeah,
she's 35 years old. 35.
There you go.
She turned 35. She turned 36 actually in 2 weeks. Well, next week actually.
Okay.
So she is eligible to run for president if you wanted to.
No, but I mean, there you have it. So I mean, that's cutting it pretty close. But no, I still think either Newsom or Buttigieg, with their taking gender and race out of it and all of that, like they do have more requisite experience for the position. I can't imagine an elected position in the United States that most closely mirrors a presidency more than being, say, the governor of California, the mayor of New York City. Like those are real executive positions that have some serious gravitas to them that other states and cities just don't compare to. I think even governor of New York and governor of California aren't entirely comparable, because California, as you know from being there, like our major cities and our population centers are disparate and spread out. There's as much difference between California or between San Francisco and San Diego as there is between like New York and Richmond.
I could see an AOC, a Gavin Newsom AOC ticket working, simply for the fact that Gavin Newsom, love him or hate him, he is very slick, marketable, and I'm sorry, that's part of campaigning, marketing yourself. Trump is the greatest of that. Trump.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, I have such a mixed bag as a Californian on Newsom. You know, there have been a number of things he's done where he's sort of talked out of both sides of his mouth from a policy standpoint, but he is the only person in the national political discussion that has been able to sort of materially chip away at and truly antagonize Trump while
he's doing Trump
popularity. Yeah,
he's the only one. He's the only one with the balls to challenge Trump head on.
Yeah, he won't be bullied by him. And again, like there's plenty of shit he's done to sell out workers. There's plenty of things he's done that go against housing policy, impacted families, a whole number of things that I can go on and on about him for. But yeah, he's the only one doing anything right now.
Here's what I will say about AOC. If she ran for Senate next year, she'll win. She'll kill Chuck Schumer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think Kristen Gillibrand has managed to sort of fly under the radar, and her seat's not necessarily. I would think her seat's probably safer than Schumer's. But yeah, I mean, Schumer is completely ineffectual and useless. The man is what, like 89 3/4 years old. Like he can hardly see.
He's a waste of space, bro. He's a waste of space, bro.
He is, and he and Hakeem Jeffries can help him carry his boxes on the way out of the Rayburn building. Like,
I think if AOC ran for Senate next year, she would win and win pretty convincingly, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
And I think that would set the stage for her to run for president.
Well, and especially in if you're talking about a statewide race, I think she's going to turn out a lot of the Black and brown people and Muslim communities that feel abandoned by people like Chuck Schumer,
especially in New York.
Yeah, because the disparity of what you're seeing in terms of treatment of immigrants in places like Nassau and Suffolk County, right here, sort of in the backyard of the city, and Westchester County and elsewhere throughout the state, it's bad. I mean, we got ICE trucks in West Babylon.
Yeah. I think at this point where we're at, politically speaking, I think
tickle in my nose that won't go away.
It's okay. It's okay. I think being a centrist, and that's something I'm guilty of sometimes. I think there's no value in being center anymore. I think it's either you're on one from a political point of view, you're either on one side or the other now. Either you're for working class people or you're not working class people.
There's a specific like academic term for it, something principle or window. It's like the Barnard window, or I don't remember. But anyway, what it says basically is that, you know, the right in this country has continued to pull the left consistently over the line. It's like Republicans drag us to the right, and then Democrats control Congress or the White House, and they manage to stop the dragging or slow the dragging. But they're not doing anything materially to pull us back over towards the left or our national discussion to the left. Like our center in this country is considered right to far right in just about every other developed country in the world that has a more balanced political landscape. And, you know, 6 to 12.
Say what you will. Parties. Republicans do a better job, and I'm not talking just like politicians. I'm talking about actual voters. You can, for example, you can disagree with Republicans on, say you have 10 issues, and you disagree with 7 to 10 issues. They'll focus on the 3 issues you agree with them on and use that as a way to bring you in. Yeah. Democrats, opposite way. The Democrats, you can agree with 7 to 10 issues on one thing, but they'll use the 3 issues you disagree with them and push you away.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do. And I mean, Republicans are way more welcoming than Democrats are. I'm sorry, they are. They are.
A great example of it is we watched that show. I'm pretty sure you did too. The one with Cate Blanchett about Phyllis Schlafly and Eagle Forum, Mrs. America.
No,
like 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. Sarah Paulson's in it. The guy who plays Roger Sterling in Mad Men and Howard Stark in Iron Man and stuff. He's in it. It's great. It's honestly a really great show.
What's it called?
One of the things. Mrs. America.
I'll check it out.
One of the things they cover in it is how Eagle Forum, in its quest to stop the Equal Rights Amendment and more or less, you know, do their little Project 2025 thing in 1970. One of the concessions they had to make was to bring over all these Southern conservatives into their camp who were segregationists and anti-integration. And it was, at least in the show, it was depicted that like Phyllis Schlafly and her Eagle Forum people were actually super uncomfortable with these Confederate flag wavers, but winning was more important and getting Nixon the White House was more important. So they held their nose and let the Klansmen in the camp. But that kind of in a nutshell is what Republicans or what the right tends to do much better than the left in this country, is that, you know, no different than in like Weimar Germany or elsewhere throughout history, you have like the centrist left, your moderate Democrats that, you know, demonize communism and socialism and alienate those members of the left and the anarchists and whatnot. And then within the more progressive and further left portions of the spectrum, you have a lot of cannibalization between ideologies, you know, between the communists, the socialists, the democratic socialists, the anarchists, whatever. You know, if you are not ideologically pure, they don't rock with you, and they have a very hard time coalescing to win a bigger picture. I mean, you saw a lot of this with the very valid criticisms of, you know, Kamala Harris's positions on Gaza and what the administration had done since October 7th. However, you know, you and I were still saying, like, this is a problem. We need to stop sending money to Israel. However, electing a fascist dictator who's incompetent is still a worse solution, and staying home, sitting out the election is going to fuck up the country.
You can argue there's a weird mishmash of far left, far right people on that issue who agree with you. There's other people on the right also who agree with you that Israel has way too much control and sending money to Israel.
Well, yeah, and that's been, I mean, it's been the Israeli intelligence and you know, administrative position for 50 fucking years now.
Yeah.
Really, since 1967, that it's been their plan, and it's been successfully executed to get their hooks into the American political landscape and pull the strings on our politicians.
I just don't know if that issue is actually something strong enough to waiver a election either which way, because you have a mishmash. You don't. Is that enough for someone on the right who may not like Israel, what they're doing, but they love the policies on the right? Is that enough to have them go the other way? Again, and I say that because we're a two-party duopoly, and I know I hate it. I wish I had ranked choice voting. But we are where we are. So I don't know if, but we should appreciate the fact that there's a lot of things that we're starting to see, that the far left and far right do come together on, and the Israel issue is something that let's put it this way: the IDF is not very popular. Of course,
correct. I mean, in their own country.
Right, they're popular to the rich and to the people who are being funded by them, but anybody else,
exactly.
No.
If you're a major stockholder in Northrop Grumman or Raytheon, sure, you love Israel. But
I mean, I'm seeing friends of mine I went to church with, evangelicals, who are sitting there saying that this Israel thing is bullshit. Not me. I'm telling me. I'm like, wow.
We are so far past the point of debate over what is taking place. Are there Israeli hostages being held by Hamas? Yes, there are. I don't know how many, but what I do know is that tens of thousands, and the real number is not known, but it could be upwards of several 100,000 Gazans have been, and Palestinians in the West Bank have been killed since October 7th, and tens of thousands of those have been children. Yeah. They have bombed every hospital, university. They are stopping food convoys. They are creating death traps to be able to receive aid. They are harassing, raiding, firing upon humanitarian flotillas. Like, these things are not in dispute.
Yeah, you're right.
They're being covered by Haaretz, the Israeli New York Times. Mm-hmm. Like, these things are not in dispute. What is taking place is a genocide. Yeah. Plain and simple.
And even someone like Charlie Kirk even said that on record.
Yeah. I mean, there's that oil hat theory out there that his comments on Israel is potentially what got him killed. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were rumors that because even Candace Owens, love her or hate her, she is on this thing. She is on the gas.
She's more of she is, at least for once, staying like kind of true to her roots, and she's an isolationist. She's not for sending all this money all over the world.
No, but she's also acknowledging that it's a genocide. She's saying the words out loud, and for record, to her credit, she's been saying this for over a year now, for a while, before it was actually really
Well, and it's like, once you have found yourself agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk, we have truly jumped the shark.
Yes. Again, the mishmash I kept talking about.
And again, not right or left. These people are morons and swindlers and grifters.
Yes.
And even what's a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Fuck me, we're agreeing with them. Like, ay, Dios mío, puta boy.
Yeah. Some a little lighter here, real quick. Some a little lighter in politics, real quick. One last thing. Kamala Harris' new book. Did you by any chance get that? Are you gonna get it? I got it. I bought it.
Shit less.
So I have credits.
I have too many other books I'm trying to get through.
Right. No, I have too many credits. I have a lot of credits on my Audible that I need to burn. I was really curious, and I'm like, I'm reading the excerpts. I'm like, I want to get this book now, bro. I want to read it.
From what I understand, listening to pods like Higher Learning, and then trading texts with you about it, it sounds to me like she pulled punches, she placated and made excuses, and didn't spill any real tea about all the ways that she was handcuffed and undermined in terms of like what she wanted to do messaging wise on the campaign. And
she knows that, actually, yeah.
To me, I'm like, if it's basically not a straight up pot of tea, just piping hot tea mixed with a complete mea culpa leading into a campaign against funding for Israel and getting AIPAC out of our political discourse, I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
There's so many other more important things to pay attention to, and I have so little time at the moment for reading. Like that's not breaking through.
All I'm saying is that I and you myself should feel, victorious. The people who gave us shit about how their campaign changed, for example, the messaging in 107 days, they went from working class families to Liz Cheney. And people will say, "Oh, you should still do that." And like, no, you should not do that. And she's saying that was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, let Liz Cheney go campaign to conservatives, but you shouldn't be up there like arm in arm with her. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then
which is what we said.
And everything said about the possible Biden-Harris fracturing of the relationship, she confirmed that. We said this on the podcast that there's probably something there, and then Biden is not doing this. Confirmed. Exactly. The health issues we said for years, and people say, "Oh, no big deal." Confirmed by the vice president. Okay.
Correct.
The big one, the big takeaway in the book, and I want to get your thoughts on this one, that she wanted Pete Buttigieg to be her running mate.
Yeah.
But they were worried about the fact of the optics of, especially in 107 days, gay, black woman, same ticket, not as marketable. I get it. I don't disagree with her on her fear of that. But I also think that you should have gone for broke anyway. Now, having said that, Tim Walz, in my opinion, was my favorite anyway.
Mayor Pete was a broadly popular figure. He had a much higher national profile. Even you and I didn't know hardly who the fuck Tim Walz was until it was announced that he was.
Well, I started researching him about 3 weeks before that she picked him. And I told, we
were discussing that. We were discussing that a little bit, but like when his name started getting mentioned in the short list, we're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah. And I researched him. I was like,
we thought it was going to be
Josh Shapiro,
Mark Kelly, or
Josh Shapiro.
Well, I was hoping not. But he tanked his with his comments about Israel.
Yeah,
he's a crazy Zionist.
Also, fake Obama too. Also, for the record.
Yeah, he does the same shit Hakeem Jeffries does. He goes on and on pontificating, trying to be President Obama, and it's like, you're like, Jay Farrow's impression is better than yours. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Bernie Sanders brought Donald Trump's messaging works better because it's direct and honest. Well,
it's direct. I wouldn't say it's
right. Direct.
People perceive it as honest as direct and plain spoken, but the simple truth is he's just bald-faced lying to you. Right. I mean, it's easy to get your point across when you're just making it up as you go.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that was the biggest thing about it, is the whole thing with the VP pick and all that. But to me, I think to me the book tells me that she's burning the bridges here. To me, this is a career closer. I think she's done politics. I don't see her.
I don't see her as doing anything more than being a podcast, public speaking, and campaign cheerleader.
Yeah, agreed. Totally
because she is still very popular in a great many circles, and is a obviously valuable political operative and a brilliant human being. But I don't see a pathway to her. Like, I mean, what's left? I mean, you're not going to win the presidency. You're 0 for 2. And the only thing really left that's even remotely comparable would be, I guess, California governor, but I don't even know if she'd win that right now.
No, she pulled out. There's rumors of her running for that seat, and then she pulled out of that. So if she's not doing that,
I felt like she did the thing where she maintained a little too much decorum. She should have taken the gloves off more. And as long as the donor class and the campaign managers and the messaging and PR people aren't going to let her do that,
no.
There's no point putting her forth as a candidate.
So I'm looking right now at the polling right now for a potential primary for 2028. I can find it. It's not coming up here. What's going on here? Hold on. Try this again. There we go.
Well, your computer is non-compliant today. It's like a bad child.
and it's brand new too, also. But I saw the polling. She was leading polling too. I think it was her, and then I think Gavin Newsom was leading the polling for.
Probably more name recognition than anything else, because what are they campaigning about? I mean, what are they telling us about the pathway for? I mean, obviously Newsom is doing a lot, but like, you know, what is she out there doing? Like, there was a cool moment where there was a talk at some conference between her and Nafisa Collier about the stuff going on in the WNBA and Kathy Engelbert and all that. But like, what is Madam Vice President out there doing that's going to raise her? Like, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I don't see it either. All right, let's get to baseball quick. Playoffs are on the way. You told me off the record though that Dodger fan, I guess now former Dodger fan now, you're out on the Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the midst of a boycott, at least for this season. We went through this with Frank McCourt, and that was over simple shit. That was over baseball shit. But, the ugly truth is that the LA Dodgers have a very complicated relationship with the Latino community, and specifically the Mexican community in LA. For people who don't know, the land where Dodger Stadium currently sits, Chavez Ravine, was 3 predominantly Mexican neighborhoods. And forgive me, I cannot remember the names of all of them. It was Bishop and a couple others. But that neighborhood was eminent domain, and the houses were bulldozed. People's land was taken from them. They were forced from their homes. Literally after, they do the thing where first the realtors come and give you lowball all cash offers, and they ask nicely. And then when you can't be persuaded to leave, they force you out. And it got so ugly, in fact, that they bulldozed homes with like old ladies inside. And that was supposedly to facilitate a affordable housing project in the late 40s in LA. And that never came to pass. And then LA gave the land to the O'Malley family when they moved the Dodgers from Brooklyn to LA to build Dodger Stadium. And so for a lot of decades, the Mexican community in LA didn't rock with the Dodgers. It wasn't until Fernando Valenzuela broke out onto the scene that it rallied, Mexican fans in droves to Dodger Stadium. So fast forward, they've now spent 4 decades leaning into the Los Doyers of it all, and Noches Latinos, and all that kind of shit, making millions, if not billions of dollars off of the Mexican community. And they've completely sold them out. As ice raids began in the springtime, you had Dodger Stadium allowing ICE to stage vehicles and raids from their parking lots. The team has been completely silent over the invasion of our communities in Los Angeles and people being kidnapped from Home Depot with warrantless masked agents who won't identify themselves. The team has been completely silent. The only person who's really said anything about it is Kike Hernandez. And then, sort of the cherry on top of all of this is that Mark Walter, the chairman, CEO or head of, he's effectively, for all intents and purposes, he's the fucking owner of the Dodger and the Lakers. Yeah. And Mark Walter is a principal shareholder in a company called Geo Group. And Geo Group is one of the largest private prison companies in the country, profiting off of the kidnapping and illegal detention of immigrants in this country.
Wow.
And so, I was already out on the Dodgers when they went and tap danced with fucking Taco Baby in DC. I thought that was already when so many teams like the Warriors and the Eagles have already sort of run headfirst through that door. The Dodgers had an easy out to stand on business, and they went and fucking tap danced for the Fuhrer. And I hated it.
Especially given where they're located too. Also, that's a very heavy blue.
Yeah, area. It's just such a bad look. And So no, I'm completely out on the Dodgers this season. I was rooting for their failure. It was go Giants in the division. I'll never root for the Padres because I just hate their fucking squad. But yeah, it's fuck the Dodgers this year.
So who are you rooting for this year?
Seattle.
In the playoffs.
Honestly,
Me too. Me too.
My homie and I, we our number 2 team growing up was always the Mariners. My friend Kyle, shout out to Kyle. And like my mom and stepdad are from Seattle. Griffey was my favorite player growing up.
So you're really not.
It's kind of easy. Yeah.
If they repeat, you're not gonna celebrate, are you?
No. I won't buy a t-shirt.
I
haven't spent a single dollar on merch since the championship. Like since they went to the White House, I have not spent a minute or a dollar on the Dodgers. I unfollowed the team. I unfollowed most of the every player except Kike. I unfollow the content creators. I don't give 2 fucks because until they're willing to stand up for the community, fuck them. And that's not necessarily directed at the players on the field. I know some Dodger fans have a complicated relationship with this because, what the players do and what the team ultimately does is separated from who the ownership is. But I just can't swallow that. And so, yeah, I'm kind of out in the wind right now. And frankly, this is going to extend to the Lakers too.
And that's hard for you.
The same dude just bought the fucking Lakers. Yeah, I mean, like I was talking to my mom about this. I said the Dodgers and the Lakers are the only things I've loved in my life as long as you, Mom. It's true. And yeah, I have a very complicated relationship with that now because of how important to the fabric of Los Angeles, the Mexican community and the immigrant community are to see the 2 symbols of LA, the Dodgers and the Lakers, being completely spineless, and further that the ownership is profiting off of this atrocity. I can't reckon with that.
I respect it. Have you watched the playoffs at least though? Have you watched the playoffs?
Here and there, I catch highlights. I see what's happening in the games. I see, Dodgers have, for example, looked really good against the Phillies. They've had some back and forth moments, but the Phillies just can't get past them. The Yankees have absolutely unraveled in Toronto.
Does Aaron Boone get fired if they lose the series?
I have a hard time with that because I feel, I was one of those people who, for years and years and years, and only at punctuated moments have I been on the torch and pitchfork Dave Roberts train. I felt like, there were things he did incorrectly that I had issues with. I will still never forgive him for throwing Hyun-Jin Ryu in Game 2 of the 2018 World Series over Rich Hill. I still think that was our only chance to win that series and steal one from Boston.
Yeah.
Shit like that. But I feel like Aaron Boone has been more saddled, done more with less. Yes, obviously he has Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm. It's really, really, really nice players. Cody Bellinger. But I feel like he's done more with less. And for the fact that they made the World Series last year, they were kind of a fraud squad. I felt like the 2 best teams in baseball were the Dodgers and Padres, and the Mets. Those were the 3 teams that were the out and out favorites last year. That were just heads and shoulders better than everybody across both leagues.
Does this Dodger strike?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Boone get fired, but I don't necessarily think he should. I'd give him one.
Yeah, I would too. Also, wait, does this Dodger strike mean is a door open for you becoming a Mets fan?
Yes, a bit. It's kind of like a coin flip. I think my two, if I were to fully jump ship and change my allegiance, it's probably neck and neck right now between Mets and Mariners. I just don't know if I can so willingly invite perpetual misery into my life in the way that is
that's exactly what I'm going to like. If you're going to decide
that is a specific, you got to know what you're getting into.
Exactly. Understand what being a Met entails. Okay, entails failure.
Last year was a fluke.
Yeah, I'm numb to the failure this year. I'm so numb to it. You know why? Because I'm used to it. I mean, it's like breathing. I love my kids, my wife, and the Mets always fucking fail me. That's part of life.
No, I'm with you on that. And truthfully, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like, that was my existence as a Dodgers fan for most of my life.
Yeah.
It was, competitive, but a first or second round exit if we were making the playoffs at all. From, like, we won the World Series in '88 when I was a kid. And then we overspent on Darryl Strawberry and effectively ruined his life. Because if you listen to him on interviews for like SNY and stuff, he'll tell you that, like, obviously he learned to ski in Queens, but he became a ski instructor in Los Angeles.
All right, one last thing out of here. Go.
No, so I was just saying, like, the 90s were absolutely brutal for us.
Mm-hmm.
It was only since Magic and the Guggenheim Group bought the team that we're like, holy shit, this is amazing.
All right, one more clip. I'm gonna play one more clip for you before we get you out of here. This is a clip you sent me.
Is this the Mount Rushmore thing?
It is the Magic Johnson talking about the Mount Rushmore for the Lakers. He was on the Byron Scott podcast, and they were talking about the Lakers Mount Rushmore. Here's the clip here.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they fucked this up because
start
Mount
with Cap.
Yeah.
You got Kobe. That's easy. Them two are easy.
I think the first three are easy. Them two and you. That's it.
You got to put yourself on there.
I think the first three are pretty damn easy, to be honest with you.
I don't really talk about myself like that.
I know. That's why I'm saying the first three is pretty damn easy. Irvin, Magic Johnson. You got two more, Buck.
Now, because he's here, he'll probably fit in there with LeBron and then probably Shaq. But you got so many. Jerry West, you got Chamberlain, Elgin, you got Clever.
Yeah,
I mean, you got so many dudes that it's hard to say these five. You almost have to say 15 or 20. And no other franchise, Boston will probably be right there with us. But not too many franchises can say they got like this many dudes.
He's not wrong about that, for the record. He's not wrong about
All
that.
right, so
I'll
do my four. I'll do my four right
before you jump ship the Laker fan, because I know you have that's pending for you with the Mark.
I mean, like up until 2025, like all things are still true.
Right. Yes, that's very true. So, do you agree with Magic here?
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe. So my four is, of course, Magic, Kareem, Kobe. And the fourth one is, if we're just talking Lakers, Jerry West.
I agree
it was really, really tight between Shaq and Jerry West for that 4 spot. I still think Shaq is the single most dominant player of all time, and it's 1 and 1A between him and Kareem for best center of all time. But I think if we're talking truly Lakers Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Jerry West. Period. And here's why too. Mm-hmm. People will forget, but Jerry West only won 1 championship and perennially got bitch slapped by Boston. What about his time as an executive? He built the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
That's really the
that to me is the tiebreaker between Jerry West and Shaq, is that Jerry West shot side Shaq
he
drafted
means
Kobe
more
in the same summer.
Right. He means more to the Lakers than Shaq does overall. Now, if we're doing strictly players, then Shaq might get the nod. Because Shaq,
who are the 4 best players who ever played for the Lakers?
Right.
Kobe, Magic, Kareem, and Shaq. And that 4 spot is, you're not wrong if you pick Wilt, Shaq, or LeBron in the 4th spot.
No. Whoa. I am not. No, LeBron. I'm gonna hot take here. Not only
that's why I said best players to ever play for the franchise.
Oh, listen. LeBron here's this. LeBron is probably the greatest player ever to wear that uniform. He is not the greatest Laker of all time.
Correct.
If LeBron number 2 on my list all time, beyond Jordan wasn't a Laker. LeBron was.
Yeah, he still gets it. He, like I've always said, he gets a statue for no other reason than the 2020 season. there was one job you had to do, and he did it. And there were only two people in the NBA that could have done it. And I will die on this hill that the only two people who could have been the face of the Lakers in 2020 were LeBron or Steph.
I'm gonna get a hot take here, buddy. I don't think he deserves a statue. I don't think he was as important to Lakers as, and also given the fact that they didn't.
I would say if Jeannie Buss was still the owner, it would be a given.
Yeah, but it's propaganda. It's all propaganda. That's why. He doesn't deserve a statue.
I don't know.
Outside the 1 year he won a title, it's all mediocre or disasters.
Does he go in that same sort of like just outside the deepest, inner core of Laker history, of like Laker lore? Is he kind of on that outer edge with like Wilt? Because Wilt's never gonna get Wilt's not getting a statue.
He is Wilt, and one could argue Wilt, did Wilt have
He's really a Philadelphia guy.
Wilt won 2 with you guys or 1 only? He won 2 with you guys, right? 1. There you go. So to the
they won. They won the one in 69 or 70, whatever that was.
Right.
Because that's all. That's the only. Well, he might have gotten one more, but I know Jerry West only got the one, and the rest of his game is an executive.
But again, we established that Jerry's importance to the franchise goes beyond just playing.
Well, yeah, I mean he's the architect. He's the architect of Showtime and the architect of Shaq and Kobe.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't think it's controversial. I don't think LeBron's even near Mount Rushmore. Honestly, I would put James Worthy before him. Honestly, I'm not even joking.
In terms of Laker history, yeah, I mean, really, Norm Nixon or Byron Scott have more claim to the space than LeBron does.
What hurts LeBron, Mark? I mean, you probably agree with this. Is that take away 2020? I'm not saying 20 wasn't important.
No,
they fell flat around that. There's a lot of failure there around that, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I think the 2021 season was an abject failure. Now, granted, I think there were a lot of front office moves that didn't make sense. Why you didn't try to bring the bubble band back together in principle was beyond me. Yeah. They should have run that back for one more. Whether it's there's a number of people we could split hairs over, but JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rondo, Alex Caruso, letting all of those guys slip away and go and get big paydays, like I'm not opposed to it, but like they should have run that one back one more time.
Right. By the way,
because the other big thing is, I would argue Anthony Davis probably has much fewer injuries with the muscle of guys like JaVale and Dwight Howard behind him. Because now he slides into the 4 spot a lot more often than the 5 spot, and getting banged in the 5 spot is like having to deal with guys that are bigger, stronger, younger, and more physical at this point in his career. I think was hell on his back and shoulders. I think they did him no favors.
Speaking of LeBron, also too, supposedly this is a big decision, second decision coming today at 6.
Oh, I saw something about that. Oh God, here's my one thing about LeBron. I have figured out like my love-hate relationship with him. Of like,
mine too.
Respect the trophy case, but like there's a lot you can't stand about the person. He's the Taylor Swift of basketball.
He fits. He does fit what society is today. He's not doing anything that's actually.
I mean, he's such a millennial superstar in so many ways.
I have a love-hate also with him as well. So I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It's like
it's getting more normal. I mean, it's just me getting older and worn. Like all these little antics, they don't land the same way for me anymore.
No, it's not cute. Like some of the shit he did was like cute and kooky when he was 20, 22. But like, dude, you're not funny. You're honestly, LeBron's a big dork. Like he's a big dork.
I'd rather that though. Honestly, I'd rather that than anything else. I just think he's unauthentic.
That's the other big thing is he's inauthentic. He comes across like a fucking politician trying to placate there are very few moments where he has been raw and open, even on shit like The Shop. He's stiff and uncomfortable and disingenuous.
Yeah.
you know, and I just, the only time I've seen him truly be authentic is in 2020 with the combination of, you know, the uprising in the wake of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, and in the wake of the death of Kobe. Those are the only two times I've really gone, all right, LeBron, you're talking about something important.
No, he to his credit, he does stand on business when it comes to like these issues. And,
Sure.
and it is polarizing in a way that Michael Jordan was not. He
Yeah.
stands on business knowing the risk of that. But he also is not very intelligent when it comes to like this stuff either.
I think maybe semantically that's not the right word. But he's not.
He's not intellectually honest.
He doesn't convey intellectual honesty. Number one, right. And number two, most of the time when he speaks on issues, he gives that same energy as the person who only posts on their story when a political tragedy happens, but they're not actually following what's going on. You know,
right? Exactly.
I feel like, and maybe that's a good. He's so wrapped up in his family and his nutrition and his body maintenance that he doesn't have time to read a newspaper. And then I like that. At least I understand, but don't try to just tap in when you feel like you have to register an opinion on something.
But you bring up China and Nike, and he has nothing to say.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like you know, be consistent here.
Although I'm kind of over the picking on China and trying to call them, you know, a humanitarian wasteland. Because, like, honestly, China's no better or worse than us. Like, they're different. They have their pros, they have their cons, they have their human rights abuses. But like we're on no moral high ground.
Oh fuck
China.
No! Especially
you know, having like meeting more people who are actually from China living in New York,
and especially if you
moved here as adults,
and only that,
and getting to have conversations with like people who lived in China into their late 20s, early 30s, especially in the last 15 years, like a lot has changed, and a lot of American perceptions about China are misplaced.
And only that. Right, not only that,
I'm kind of over that one.
Yeah, and miss me with the whole thing with China when you're also okay with what's going on in Gaza. Sorry.
That's what I mean. Exactly. Between what we've been doing at the border since the Obama administration in terms of detentions, and then going into Title 42 and Trump and all the crazy shit with ICE, all the things we do to refugees, the things we do to poor people in this country. I mean, it's we have no moral finger to wag at China. We really don't.
Do you think the announcement is a retirement? Because I predicted in May, far back as May, Mark, that this would be LeBron's last season.
I think odds are high, and especially like locally with Kershaw and Kopitar, you know, both hanging it up. It's, you know, sort of almost like a generational torch passing taking place in the Southland right now. But I still think the way that the whole Bron and Bronny playing together, I don't want to say has flopped, because we can all agree like Bronny was not NBA ready, and he is developing into a But I think Bryce being as good as he is and looking as good as he does at U of A, maybe Bron gives it one more year to try to play with Bryce too.
He's certainly good enough to play.
Yeah, I mean, take any player. I mean, Robert Parrish did not look. The only player left with, I think, more total minutes played in the NBA is Robert Parrish. Mm-hmm. And he did not look as good as LeBron does right now at the back half of his career. You know, by the time he'd left Boston, he was not doing what LeBron is. So, I mean, arguably, LeBron should have been so much higher in the MVP voting the last like 3-4 seasons.
Yeah.
Then he ultimately ended up getting consideration for it. It's like, oh, well, your time has passed. Like, are you watching this, man? Like, are we watching the same fucking game?
Because I predicted that this is last year, I'm gonna go and say it is retirement. However, don't assume that, because it could be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, he's also got a pretty good sense of humor, and like at least, like, for instance, like he was really good in the movie Trainwreck with Bill Hader and Amy Schumer, and so maybe he's having a little fun with everybody and doing something silly like a shoe announcement or some kind of product launch, or God only knows. Nothing surprises me anymore. But
well, he has everybody right now in knots right now about wondering what his announcement is. So we'll see what it comes to.
Really, I mean, are people that wrapped?
Well, I mean, people on social media, social media, of course, as always.
Okay. NBA Twitter is a buzz.
It's some shit. I try not to be as much as I used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I honestly care more about how I'm going to bowl tonight because I haven't gotten to bowl with my teammates since the season started 3 weeks ago. So I'm like, I'm more focused on putting up like
I'll be honest with you, I'm with
scores tonight than with fucking LeBron's announcement.
I'll be honest with you, I am not looking forward to the NBA season right now, and a lot of it's because of all the injuries. I want
so little compelling about it right now.
No, it's OKC a bust for me. That's it.
Yeah, that's the kind of the only good story right now is OKC, and Denver will Denver, Milwaukee will Milwaukee, Boston will Boston.
But Boston,
you know what I mean? Like everything.
Tatum.
Yeah, everything's kind of a carbon copy.
Well, I will
last
say
year.
you're in the spot right now. You're living in the spot right now where all the eyes are right now are on the Knicks. Finals are bust for them this year, so that's it.
I don't think they're good enough to make the finals, but.
They might, but they will by default because the East is so bad right now.
That's true.
Everybody's hurt.
The East is really not competitive. And, like one that kind of bummed me out was I really wanted Kevin Durant to go back to the Warriors. I thought that would have been compelling as all get out.
Probably.
Like, Houston? Really?
Well,
okay.
They're a decent team.
Okay.
But, well, yeah. Not competitive. Football is a little more competitive than
that.
Football, NFL is much more every week.
There's like the NFL. Yeah, the NFL and college football are so much better right now. But
by the way, good job UCLA for fucking my parlay on Saturday. You asshole. Plug away.
Well, did
Mark.
you see the cute moment too that their offensive coordinator is Rick Neuheisel's kid, who was the quarterback.
I saw that
he got carried off the field as a quarterback, and then after beating Penn State, he gets carried off the field. It was
that's awesome. That part I didn't see.
And the UCLA season has been. Like good moments have been few and far between.
Yes,
this year.
Being Penn State's a big one. Penn State sucks
has
now,
been
so.
rough.
Plug away, brother. You got a meeting in 3 minutes.
I was gonna say that's probably gonna be the highlight of our season.
Absolutely. Plug away, brother.
No, I actually have very little to plug right now. As always, at HAC Global, or at HAC_US or HACglobal.us online on the web. Tap in, see what we're doing with the caucus, and go Mariners.
Same here, man. Go Mariners.
I'm on the big dumper train.
I'm there with you too, brother. Good job as always, Mark.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.